All right, so good morning, or well, it's good morning where I'm recording this. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you are. I'm Mike Zemansky, and this is going to be the first video in a series of stepping you through basically getting you ready for our CS certificate program, stepping you through the tools we'll use and some basic Java. This is going to be to supplement the workshops and the self-paced stuff and all of that, and get you ready to do the pre-work and get you in and get you New York State certified to teach computer science. So the first thing I want to mention, the first thing I want to say is many of you have backgrounds just using a language like Scratch, a drag and drop language. And what you're going to find is when you're working in a language like Scratch, you're working in a sandbox. Everything is just this one little Scratch environment. If you make a mistake, it's right there in front of you usually. And we'll look at Scratch and compare it to Java, which is what we're going to be using in future videos. So for here, since we're going to be in a much freer environment, Scratch is very much a real programming language, but it's not a programming language where you're going to write something, an application for a bank or a business or, something like that, which is just going to run independently on a machine. The Scratch you write runs in Scratch. And so it's, again, contained in a sandbox. Since we're going to be working in a more general environment, it's important that you really pay attention to the details, where I am when I'm running a certain command, what the output says, like every little thing, because that can be very frustrating if you're just doing something in the wrong place or in the wrong order or to the wrong file, and I'll point that out as we go. And it's common. I make these mistakes all the time, and that's fine. But you don't want to get frustrated. So anyway, we're going to dive in. This video is just going to get us started with the basic setup in the environment. So we're going to use two basic online resources for our program, at least to start with. And the first one is GitHub. And so if you come over here to github.com, you'll be able to basically sign up for an account. And this is the first thing you should do. And it's a free account. And they also have a lot of great support for educators and a lot of free stuff for educators. But just do that, set that up, create the account, and you're good. We're not going to come back to GitHub for a little bit, but you need to have that count as the first step. So pause the video if you haven't made a GitHub account, and click over here to sign up, follow the instructions, make the account, and then come on back. All right, so now that you're back, we can look at our other website, which is repl.it. So it's repl.it.com, or it actually repl.it works. And repl.it is an online programming environment, but it's really like a mini Linux computer that you can use on the web. So you won't have to install anything on your machine. You can just use repl.it for everything. In fact, this is our approved platform. And if you've got a strong background already coming in and you want to use something else, as long as it links to GitHub and can work with GitHub, that's fine. But repl.it is our approved background, our approved platform. So what you should do here is you can either click login or sign up, and I'll show you both. The important thing though is when you create an account, don't do the username email. Do the continue with GitHub over here. All right, so this guy over here, this continue with GitHub, because what that's going to do is it's going to link your GitHub account and your repl.it account, and we'll be able to use the two resources together. I'm going to log in and I'm going to continue with GitHub, and it's going to then ask me for my GitHub username and password, which I put in, and boom, I get something like this. All right, so, and repl.it also has got some great support for students and classrooms. I just use the free account, and it's great for collaborative programming. It's a really neat tool. But again, we'll get to all that later on. So once you're in repl.it, once you've gone into repl.it. We're going to work in what we call repls. And so the first thing you'll do is you'll create a repo. And later on, I'll create a REPL, and I want it to be a Java REPL, so I'm going to click on Java. If I don't see Java here, you can just type it in, and it'll come up. We can name the REPL, and let's see, can I name it yet? No, I can't. I first have to choose Java. Now I can name it. It'll give you a name, and you might want to give it something like this, Hunter CS Cert. Intro, I don't know, name it something, or you can just use the one it gives you. The owner is Zemansky. I don't even know why I have choices there. It will be public. We're using public accounts. That's all good. But then we're going to create the REPL. And I'm going to make the font a little bit bigger. And what we've got here in the REPL, it's like a little environment. So here we've got a little file area, and you can add files, you can add folders. We'll do that in a minute. It gives you a file called main.java. It gives you various other tools here, which we'll talk about over time, but don't worry about them for now. It'll give you a console here, and it'll also give you a shell over here. And notice the shell, it says Hunter CS Cert Intro. That's the name of our REPL. And so that is related there. Now, this shell is important because this shell is actually a little terminal into basically a Linux computer. And I can type the command ls, which is list files. That is a Unix or Linux command to list the files, and notice it gives us main.java, which is the file here, main.java. I made the font bigger so it's main.j here, but it is main.java. I think I could also type dir, yes, so for Windowsy type people. And so we're going to work with the shell and with this area here. You'll also see this green button here. Ignore it, we're not going to use it. All right, so this is our first Java program. It gives it to you, and notice. Let me just make some changes here. This is really what it looks like. Let me just. So basically, this is what it looks like here. You start with your file is main.java, and that file will have what is known as a class in it. And again, don't worry about it. We'll cover it later on. One of the things that people don't like about Java is there's a lot of boilerplate. There's just things that we can't explain till later on. So there you have it. And we need this class main. And notice this name main is the same as the file name, but without the .java uppercase. And traditionally, it's the first letter is uppercase. And in our class, we need to have what are called methods. Methods are called functions in other languages. They're basically a block of a program that that's treated as a unit. And again, this will be explained later on, but today is just getting started. And we need a special one called main, and it has to be written like this: public static void main, and then this string brackets in args. It's got to be exactly like this. And then you can have commands, and inside here, your commands or your statements are just Java things separated by semicolons. So one fundamental statement is system.out.println, which prints to our terminal. Now, if I wanted to run this program, I first have to compile it. And I compile it by running the command javac main.java. And I'm going to see if I can adjust some window sizes here. Yeah, that just wraps, unfortunately. So I'm going to type javac, and this just got a little wonky. Let me see if I can come back. Now, can I exit? Yeah, there we go. That clears it. So if I do get my directory with ls, and if I write javac for Java compile main.java, and it'll take a few seconds. But when it comes back and I do my directory, you'll see that it created a file called main.class. And that's Java bytecode. When I type javac, the Java compiler, it translates your Java program from your source code, that's what this is, into Java bytecode, which can be run by the Java virtual machine. And we run that by running the command java, and those are J's, J-A-V-A, and then main. No .class, no .java, just main, just that word. And it runs and it prints hello world. And if I change my program, hello.world from main, if I run it, notice it doesn't change anything. I have to recompile main.java. And I just hit the tab key for completion there. And then I can run that Java main, hello world from main. Great. And so that's running a Java program. All right, so you should all, if you haven't been following along yet, you should just take a couple of minutes to do this on your own and then come on back. All right, so there's one more thing that I want to show you today, which is we're not going to just work in main here, in this main. We're going to be working in different folders, also known as directories, so we can organize our work. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click here to add a folder, and I'm going to call this demo. So now I have a folder, and if I come here to my shell, you'll see that I now have demo in here. And I'm going to go into demo and I'm going to add a file, and we'll call this file hello.java. And notice that it jumps me into it when I do that. I didn't know it was going to do that, but it's not a big deal. I can click that closed. If I want, I can click on that to bring it up. I can click on this one to bring this one up. I can, it's the usual filey type stuff. But notice here, I don't have a hello because hello is in demo. If I want to go into the demo folder or demo directory, I type cd space demo with a capital D, case matters. And now if I type ls for listing my files, hello is in here. I'm in this folder. It's important that your shell is in the folder or in the directory that you want to work in. If I want to go back, I can type cd and then the tilde, because you see the tilde at the very beginning of the line. Actually, I didn't want to do tilde. I really wanted to do cd into Hunter CS Cert intro. That's where I wanted to be. And I'm back where I started. Or another way to do that, I'm in demo now, cd ... which means go up one level. And here I am. So let me just go back into demo finally. And if this is getting busy, I can always just clear. So now let's write our program. So this is a file called hello.java. So it has to be, well, if I look here just for reference, class main, that's the name of the file here. So this has got to be class hello with the uppercase. Then I need public static void main string open close brackets args. I know this is wonky. Notice it gave me the close parentheses, and this is a complete program. Well, it's not a complete program because I have to close the bracket. Well, actually, let's leave that. Let's not close the bracket. So I say, hey, it's a complete program. It's just like main almost. And so let's try to compile this. Javac hello.java. And it says reach the end of the file while parsing bracket. And I'll notice that, oh yeah, I closed this. Everything that you open in Java you have to close. I have to close that as well. So now, and I can use the up arrow as well to go to previous commands. And if I just do Java hello, no dot Java, well, actually, let me do the ls again. And I just do Java hello. It doesn't do anything, but it runs. And you'll notice here, it created that .class file. It didn't do it for main because main, like, it sets up some special replit magic. Don't worry about that. But let's go back to our program and let's add a couple of lines in here. So I'm going to come into here and I'll do system out print line hello, system out print line from hello. Whatever, not really a big deal. But notice I can have multiple lines here. So what my program is going to do when I run it, and I'll compile it and run it here. So I'm going to hit up arrow to get to the Java C hello or hello.java, is it will start in main. It will then do the top line here, and then it'll do the next line here. And so if I run this, Java hello, there you have it. And so that's the basic workflow that we're going to have here. This is your basic prototype Java program, which is class and then the name of the file. It has public static void main in it. We're going to add a lot to this over time, but this is how we do it in Replit. It's all about, using this to navigate the files, but making sure you're in the shell. And remember, you have to be in the folder that you want to be working in. And so, yeah, that's it for now. The next video will go a little bit of a deeper dive into Java. But yeah, so that's it. So I'm hoping this is helpful, and I'll see you all online.